What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick.
I'm Jammin, John.
And we have an album review for you. So another one that came out on the 2nd of September and kicks off September pretty well again is the latest offering from Heads for the Dead, the Great Conjuration. This comes out on Transcending Obscurity Records. It's band formed in 2017, and this is an international band. So you have members from Sweden, Germany, the US, and the UK here. This is their third album overall. They have one other EP. This features members of Wombbath and Sentient Horror and a litany of other bands, just because one of the members here, Johnny Peterson, is in a ton of bands. Like, not quite Roga Johansson, but close. I think there might be an ongoing competition because he's like in, I would say, 15 bands on here.
Jeez.
Yeah. Johnny's very, very prolific, and this is one that I guess was formed as a super group, and this is flat out Swedish death metal, HM2, horror themes, and it is done in such ridiculously over-the-top fashion that this was just a lot of fun to go over, just because these guys ham it up in such a great fucking way.
I had so much fun. First of all, this is the first time I've ever heard this band. I had no idea that this was a thing. In fact, when he mentioned it to me, I thought, Heads for the Dead? The fuck?
Yeah, it sounds like a fucking 80s horror movie.
It does.
Or like a 70s horror movie.
It just sounds like something that's going to be straight cheese.
Blood cheese.
But it's so much fun. I don't know if I've had this kind of fun listening to a record in quite some time. So it just kicks off with the Jewel of the Seven Stars. It's got this really cool, like, guitar fade-in thing. Like, you can hear the riff just slowly build, and then it kicks in the door out of nowhere with immediate, just bloodbath fucking filth. But then it gets all chanty with the vocals, and this immediate, like, dark kind of warish atmosphere, I think, so to speak. But it's fun. It's super fun.
It's like something orcs would march to, or if you were having a death metal listening party / human sacrifice, this is perfect. The atmosphere in here is one of the things that really wins me over.
Yes.
It's like horror camp. There's horror synths. They're not overdone. They're used very specifically on here. You hear screams in the distance and sometimes in the forefront.
Yep.
I think they recorded this in a dungeon where people were actively being tortured, and they just said, oh, we need to scream in here. Let's hit that guy with a fucking hot iron or something, get him to yelp. Ah!
Pluck out this guy's eyebrows with tweezers.
Yeah, and it comes in at like very interesting points on here. Like sometimes, again, the middle of the song, all of a sudden you'll hear just a ah in the background. And it's like kind of like hilariously over the top, like in the sense of like the Evil Dead trilogy. Like, you get all the gore you want, but you also get a lot of like campiness and pure fucking fun. And then you get that backed up by some seriously just gnarly riffs.
Crunchy, chuggy, fucking just gross. The music is so well done. I mean, it's immediately apparent that this is Swedish death metal. All the tropes are there for that. The crunchy buzzsaw guitars, the snarling bass, the massive blasty fucking drums. And the drums are really cool too because it's not overdone. Like, for the most part, it's just D beats and blast beats. But it's like meat and potatoes, but with spice.
Yeah, and the way they sound on here, the production was also done by Johnny in here. The drums sound absolutely massive. Like, the snare sounds like it's at least 5.5 feet wide. Like, every time he hits it, it's just this big resounding thud. The bass drums have a great fucking punch to them, and it's really cool in that intro. You can actually hear the bass drums fade in. It's like, ooh, those are getting punchy. Ooh. And then when the song explodes, like, oh my god, this is a massive fucking production.
And then you get to songs like The Bloodline, where it opens with like just massive Morbid Angel heft. Just dark and doomy and gross sounding.
Really good tremolo riffs too, and tremolo harmonies. Like, that specifically gave me the Morbid Angel vibes.
Yes, yeah.
There's a certain kind of evil that Morbid Angel is known for conjuring up, and it's definitely on this album, albeit with an HM2 buzzsaw tone. So possibly more evil.
And then there's the curse. The beginning of this made me think that I didn't want to listen to this alone, because there's a lot of like weird screams and sounds. I'm not real sure what's going on in the beginning there. But this one reminded me a lot of like Blackened Bolt Thrower.
I got that right
A lot
away.
of, like, stompy, just nasty, heavy, stompy, doomy kind of just blah, blah. Like a giant smashing peasants.
Except it's an army of the dead this time.
Yes, an army of dead peasants.
Yeah.
A giant smashing zombie peasants.
Yeah, or a tank made out of human skulls and entrails or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know. It definitely had the bolt thrower vibe, but, mixed with that horror atmosphere. And I gotta say, the vocals on here are so gloriously over the top in the right way. Like, everything is hammed up to make it sound extra evil, extra gurgly. Like, the curse, the way it opens with the creepy synths, you get this isolated growl that is layered and evil, and then it just explodes into the song. But, dude, they're powerful.
Yes, all the growls are like mucusy and everything that you would think of when you think of over-the-top vocals.
Yeah, and they fit the mood really well. There's a lot of spots where they're isolated on here. Like, they'll just drop out for a second, and Johnny will say something occult and cryptic and evil, and then boom, you're into the next transition. And I kind of like that. Like, it has an interesting flow to this album. The D-beat sections, I think, are really fucking strong, especially the song The Beast. Mm-hmm. That song has some very distinct melodies on it, like some dissonant sort of punky chords, and generally when Swedish death metal goes like fast, there's a lot of D-beat, there's a lot of crust punk influence. You can hear that come out in that song especially.
The Beast is almost grindy, too. I got reminded for just a second of, like, Misery Index.
Actually, I went with, like, more Rotten Sound or Gadget. I mean, especially Gadget. They're Swedish, too.
Yeah.
One of the big standouts for me on this album was World Serpent Dominion. It's the longest song on here, and this seems to be the most theatrical in terms of the dynamic shifts. Like,
Epic.
You get these, big, evil, epic starts. The snare rolls kind of sound like a military march
It's
march.
like a snare march. Yeah, it's like a death march into battle.
And the vocals on it, like, it sounds like he's addressing a giant crowd of probably mostly dead and evil things and rousing them up to, I don't know, take over a town or something. I don't know, start small. Don't go for a city just yet.
Take over a town. Do you have a pitchfork? Yes. Do you have a torch? Yes.
Are you dead? Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Well, and, I mean, you're hired. It's a really interesting song. It shifts from, like, very evil and dark to kind of campy. There's this playful organ section on it.
That's my favorite part.
It stands out. Like, instantly, it goes from, like, oh my god, this is the most sinister, fucking bleak thing to, is that the Munsters or Addams Family? I don't quite know, but it's one of those.
It's like celebrating crushing the skulls of your enemies, and they're just sitting around like, hey, how many did you kill? 6? Sweet. I got 8. All right. But it's kind of got that vibe to it.
I'll meet you at the After I Murdered Everyone party today.
Yes. Yep. Can't wait to be there.
And this also does, again, that thing that I like with the atmosphere. There are, like, sections where there are, like, whispers and groans. There's one particular vocal take where it just sounds like out of nowhere, there's this really loud whisper that comes over the vocals. Like, what the fuck was that? Like, it's just extra creepy for one fucking word, and then it's, well, that never happened. Right back to it.
So you say whisper, I say like it's like a little shriek. It's something.
I don't know.
Something weird because it's so like out front.
Yeah.
Like like whatever happens there, whether it's a shriek or a whisper, it's out front and over top of everything. And you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, just like it's very breathy, and it sounds like there's like a little bit of phlegm or throat cancer behind it. I don't know. It's creepy, but I mean, it's effective, and again, that kind of adds to the whole fun nature of this album.
Yep, agreed. And the last track, The Fog. Now, we're not 100%. It sounds like they may be talking about the movie The Fog.
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Yeah.
I listened to the lyrics, like, yeah, no, you're almost going scene for scene, plot for plot, all that.
But this song in particular, when you think about like the campy horror movie aspects of this sounds particularly like an old like, and I mean like real old school, probably like 60s, maybe 70s horror movie. You get the big like gothic organs, and it sounds like Dracula is talking in the background, and D-Beat City, but this one certainly does not skimp on the theatrics, and it's a great way to close the album.
I love the like dynamic shift between that interesting like kind of slower organ section where it's like very grown vocals. It's very lush sounding, except like it's lush like a fucking haunted swamp.
Yeah.
But then it shifts almost into like black metal territory. It gets very blasty. The riffs get more cold and sinister, and then it kind of goes back to that pivot between two very different like kinds of evil, like two very different kinds of horror movies being played at the same time.
Now, a really weird standout of this record, and something that, in my opinion, doesn't sound like really anything else that's on the album, is the song Bloody Hammer. It's a bit more of like an upbeat, almost happier song, so to speak. Like, I get reminded of like the British wave of heavy metal, Motorhead.
Yeah, Motorhead.
Yeah, this one is definitely where they're, sitting in a pub, like, drinking beer and celebrating and partying, and like, because it's just super melodic, and like all the, like, even the dark atmosphere is kind of gone, and it's just celebratory. Very,
hooky. There's some really cool leads in it. There's really cool leads across this entire album too. But yeah, that one just has a distinctly different vibe. And like vocally, I think it's very interesting because you have like the harsh growls, but they're very periodic. Instead, in place of that, you have clean vocals that are so far in the background. Like, I don't know if this was one of the people that were chained up on the wall in the dungeon that recorded this. Like, you need to sing, like, I haven't eaten in 3 days. Like, so you're not dead. Right. So sing.
So sing the fucking song.
Die?
Yep. It kind of is out of place on the album, I think. But in the same way, the rest of the album is so entertaining. This just adds another kind of entertainment factor. Like, okay, why not?
I definitely did not see that turn. I mean, especially after The Curse. The Curse was an absolutely bludgeoning fucking song.
Yeah.
I do have some issues with some of the songs. Like, I believe, The Curse is kind of one of them, too. Some songs feel maybe needlessly long. Now, granted, they repeat a lot of cool stuff that I like, but they do it, like, too many measures or bring it back too many damn times. I was like, if this was shortened down by a few minutes here and, kind of get it down to like the bare bones that a lot of these other songs are, where it's like, yeah, we have this series of riffs, this killer bridge, big nasty chorus, maybe a closing breakdown just to fuck your neck up even more. Yeah, the longer songs, like namely The Covenant, I just think goes on a little too long.
Yeah, because with a longer song, they're not really adding any more elements to it that they do in any of the other songs. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're not going prog rock here, and they're not really adding too much to it. Like, why go an extra 2 minutes if all your other songs are 3.5, 4 minutes, and you're certainly covering the grounds you need to cover? What's the point of adding another couple minutes if you're not going to do anything with it?
And when you compare it to like all the other songs that are kind of doing a lot of the same stuff in here, just in terms of their style, a lot of them are a little bit more concise, or at least when they're longer, they decide to be more dynamic. Like, again, World Serpent Dominion, The Bloodline.
Yep.
Those songs, a bit longer, but there's more going on in them. The Covenant kind of just repeats a lot of stuff, and the same thing with The Curse. While I love all that bolt thrower fucking drive to it, it kind of hangs out a little long.
So overall, really, I'm going to give this record 4 stars. I had a lot of fucking fun. It's got, again, all the tropes that I love about Swedish death metal, for sure. I love big, chunky, chuggy riffs. The drums, like I said, are very straightforward, but they're really good. I like the almost like campy, cheesy aspect of how over the top everything is, while making it so incredibly brutal at times. They do wonders to create just a kind of a gross atmosphere. I know we say gross atmosphere a lot, but this is like an atmosphere like drenched in mucus, and I really like all the added screams and all the samples they use. It's very creative, I think, for what it is, and definitely a good way to start off the impending fall season here, and the fact that horror is going to be soon a big part of all of our lives. So yeah, I had a lot of fun.
I'm going to go ahead and give it 3.5. I really dig this. This, again, has everything I love about Swedish death metal, but it's the atmosphere that really sells me on this. Mm-hmm. Like, this would work at a Halloween party, provided, no one bitches about, like, there's screaming. You deal with that. But, or you just ignore them, actually. Just fucking ignore them. It's your fucking party.
Right, exactly. Do what you're going to do.
But, I mean, it's a flat-out fun release. The riffs are fucking solid on here. The production's fucking great. Like, this is my second exposure to the band. I actually have the one before this, and I thought it was really good as well, which is why I had this on the radar. And yeah, this delivers exactly what I want out of Swedish death metal. Doesn't reinvent the wheel, but it doesn't need to because it's Swedish death metal. You just give me that snarling HM two-tone and I'll be a happy, happy slut for it. I do think some of the songs do run on a little bit too long for what they are. Like, if you're only going to have so many different moving parts to the song, there isn't a lot of necessity to keep repeating them as much. But when they do, like, a really epic long song, they fucking kill it. And again, the whole thing about this band in general is flat out fun. I love horror movies. I love death metal, so this is a great combo. I strongly recommend checking this out. Check out all their albums. I've jammed them all. They're all fucking good. So yeah, if you love Swedish death metal and like gross horror flicks, you need this band in your life.
Yeah.
So, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there'll be a link down below to thrallsofmetal.com. You can go down there, click that link, hit up our Patreon, or while you're there, kind of just hang out and maybe get a t-shirt. We still have plenty of those, and we will have new merch here soon.
Woo! New merch. Hats, I think we're working on maybe some shorts.
Banana hammocks, condoms. Severed heads.
Condoms.
Severed heads branded with the Thralls logo.
Condoms are so expensive.
That's why I don't use them.
Yep. And before we wish you a long, awkward thank you, like we normally give you, straight from the heart, all that crap.
I think that was your pancreas.
Yeah, we do have something special. We want to give a shout out to one of our fans, James Gomez, who will be celebrating a birthday here, actually today, on the day this comes out. So we just want to wish you a very happy birthday, sir. Thank you for your, thank you for continually tuning in and watching our dumbasses. And we're glad you enjoy the content. And yeah, may you have the happiest of birthdays here from the Thralls of Metal to you.
And if you're watching the live premiere of this, or just, you know, wondering who that is in the comments, it is James G. Warrior.
Yes.
Because he loves Celtic Frost just like we love Celtic Frost.
Yes, indeed.
So happy birthday, man. And of course, the awkward goodbye part. Of course, we promised that part. Thank you again to everyone that has liked, subscribed, commented, all that stuff.
Yep.
It's still amazing. Like, just seeing us over 12,000 subscribers is beyond.
It's baffling.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. The fact that this continues to grow just. Okay.
I said it before, and I want to say it again. I know you guys could do better, but we're glad you don't. You keep coming back here, and that's amazing. We love talking to you. We love doing all this stuff. Plenty of stuff around the corner. This month is going to be absolutely loaded with fucking releases.
Yep.
And is going to be a pain in the ass to try to cover all of them because there's a lot of big stuff coming out.
But likely we'll get to them because we are, in fact, sluts for metal.
Yeah.
As you see.
Giant losers.
How do you do? Loser. Loser.
That was more awkward than anything I would have said.
But yet somehow you still tune in.
And we appreciate it.
Yes, we do very much. Thank you.
So once again, thank you all, and we will catch you later.